Hi, this is Jonathan. How you guys doing? Today's video is going to be a short one. We're going to talk about the scale length of electric guitars. I've always been confused about the various scale lengths of electric guitars. And I was fortunate to start off with a relatively short scale length of 24-inch on a Fender Mustang. And I remember when I first got that guitar, I felt so at home with it. Much easier to play than the Gibson SG that I had before the Mustang, because that was a loan from my band leader back then. I bought my first Fender Mustang way back in 1983, right? And I loved playing on the guitar. It was so easy to play. And subsequently, I found out that a lot of players are gravitating towards the Les Paul, the Gibson Les Pauls. And I always wonder why, even though I understand the Les Paul weighs a ton, but rock players tend to go for the Les Pauls. Never understood why. It was much later on that I got hold of myself a Stratocaster, and well, I found it a challenge, playing on a Strat as opposed to a Fender Mustang. Little did I know about scale length. I didn't even know about the scale length of a Stratocaster as opposed to the Mustang. So henceforth, I changed my gauge to 0.9s, and this one time I went to a 0.8 because I was finding it hard to bend notes on a Strat. But I got by, and I went 0.8 to 0.9s in my band days, and subsequently I decided on 0.10s much later on, back in the late 90s, around the year 2000. I decided on a 0.10s. So imagine all this while I've been playing 0.9s and 0.8s on a Strat. Break strings like crazy because you have the tremolo arm, and the tension was really high because of the scale length of 25.5, and as opposed to a 24.75 of a Gibson Les Paul. So you can imagine the amount of tension that the Strat has on the strings. When I changed to a 0.10 gauge, I started breaking strings less. Just because of the thickness of the strings, and after a while I just got used to playing on 0.10s on a Strat. I have no problem at all. And nowadays, as I play other guitars, as I review other guitars, I come across different scale lengths. from Les Pauls of 24.75 to 24.5. That is the PRS 245. That's a 24.5. And that's like a shorter scale length than a normal Les Paul. And this is my PRS S2 Custom 22, which has a scale length of 25 inch. So you have a 24 inch for a Fender Mustang, and then a 24.5 for certain guitars like the 245 from PRS. And then you have 24.75 for your Les Pauls, and a 25 inch for PRS guitars, most PRS guitars. And then you have the 25.5 for Stratocasters and for Telecasters. So all this different scale length dictates a different way of approach. Like, how do you go about doing string bands and stuff like that, and how do you cope with the various scale length? Because the shorter the scale, it's easier to bend notes, it's easier to play. But for me, I always have a problem with shorter scale length, especially now if I want to go back to my Fender Mustang. I will find that the Mustang will flop a lot. The strings will have less tension. It will tend to flop a lot, and I'll tend to overband and I'll go sharp, like how I encounter some PRS, especially when those PRS are strung with 09s. Oh my, I'll tend to like overbend and strings will go sharp. Passages will go sharp. But for my Les Paul, it's cool. I strung it with 010, so it's just a tad easier to play. I guess on a 24.5 with 010s, it's fine. This is fine. This is like a 25 inch scale length for the PRS S2, and it plays fine. So I guess string gauge really do matter. Right? Another thing about scale length is that your action will be affected, because the tighter the strings are, you can actually bring down the action a little bit more so that it's easier to play. Shorter scale lengths would flop a little bit, especially on this area where the string vibrates the most. So your string height, the string action might not be as low as you would want it to be, because then it starts to buzz. So that's another thing to consider. Interesting, scale length. I didn't know about this until I started reviewing all these guitars from PRS, from Gibson, and the Strats. I'm used to the Stratocaster, and I didn't know that the Fender Mustang has a shorter scale length of 24 inch. Interesting. Right? So let me know, what do you think about your experiences with various scale lengths of guitar, or you were like me who have no inclination about scale length and just play guitar as it is, which is fine, I think, because you're not too hung up on the technical aspect of a guitar, like scale lengths and stuff like that, because you just want to play music and you adapt to certain guitars, to different guitars. So that's cool. Right? So let me know, and leave a comment in the comment section down below. I would like to hear from you guys. So in the meantime, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Alright, like this channel, subscribe, and press that bell for notification of future videos. And be part of the patrons to support this channel. I would appreciate it. And I want to thank all my patrons for their love, friendship, and support. Thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. So in the meantime, you guys please take care of yourself. Ciao.